So it's irrelevant, I suppose, if he takes blood pressure medication or medication like that. I'm assuming, and she can come in and do this outside the presence of the jury, I'm assuming there's testimony about him taking his medications for mental health ailments. And I would ask, I don't have to go into it too deep, but I think it's relevant that I ask her what those medications were that he took that day.
You know, it could be, but what if she names a medication? Do we know why it was prescribed, what its pharmacological properties are, what the possible side effects are, what it's generally used for? There's all kinds of things, and I'm not going to invite the jury to speculate on that by just dropping in front of them, well, he was taking liquid penicillin. It means nothing to the jury. So I'm just depositing something for them to speculate about, and so I'm hostile to that.
If she knows what it's for.
Well, I'm going to let you have your voir dire to determine the extent of her knowledge.
Okay.
It is fair game because you did bring up about the medication.
That's all I can ask, so.
Okay. Did you want to say anything?
I don't believe it's relevant. There's things in the reports that he had not taken medications that day. That's why I brought it up. I don't think it's technically all that big of a deal. I do believe it's. I don't think it's relevant. I think that Your Honor raises a good point, which is these psychoactive drugs, these benzodiazepine type drugs. I'm not an expert on them. Or else I wouldn't be at this table. But one drug can be prescribed for a variety of diagnoses.
Because yeah, for the very reasons I've said, I'm not just going to give them something that means nothing to them and then ask them to try to speculate as to what it's for. So ask her to come in and she can be examined. All right, go ahead, Mr. Sharofstein.
Good afternoon, sir.
You had answered some questions from Attorney Kraus regarding Joseph taking medications that day.
Correct.
Mr.
Rosenbaum. Sorry.
Thank you.
And that Mr. Rosenbaum had taken medications that day?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know what they were?
No, I only know some of them. I don't remember all of them.
Do you know, can you tell us the sum that you know he took?
Gabapentin was one.
I'm gonna stop you for 1 second. Do you know what he takes that, did you know what he took that for?
Bipolar disorder.
Okay. Any other medications that you know that he took?
I know he was on an antidepressant. At that time, I don't know which one they had him on.
Okay.
Those would, and then something for sleep.
Okay, but so the only, to be fair to you, the only medication that you know by name was gabapentin.
Mm-hmm.
And you are telling us that you know he took that for his bipolar disorder.
Correct.
Okay.
Any question for the state?
Do you know do you know that he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder?
Yes.
Did you go to doctor's appointments with him or anything of that nature?
Yes.
And how do you know that gabapentin was prescribed for that reason?
I was his emergency contact at the hospital, so they really called me and asked me what kind of medications I've worked in the past for him. And I told them, and they were in contact with me, letting me know what medications he was on, just like they called me that morning to say they were going to be letting him go. But that he had had his medication.
So the hospital told you that day or the night before that they were gonna, they say they were prescribing it, or did they just ask you what they should prescribe?
At first, they were asking what they thought was best, and then I told them what had worked for him in the past, and he, the doctor or the nurse that I spoke with, then explained to me what medications they put him on, and that was that.
How many medications total, if you know, was he taking? Or was he let me ask this way, was he given at the hospital?
I believe he was given Effexor, gabapentin, and Seroquel for sleep. Seroquel.
Sorry, I'm just trying to look up these drugs, I'm not familiar with them. I have no further questions.
All right. Yeah, I think there's enough information that it's admissible, so, and the state did open the door, so ask the jury to come back in, please.
Ms. Ward, I only have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
Okay. So you had mentioned on direct examination that you and Mr. Rosenbaum spent the day of the 25th together. Is that fair?
The afternoon, yes.
Okay. And you were asked by Attorney Kraus if he had taken his medication that day, right?
Correct.
And Mr. Rosenbaum was taking gabapentin, is that right?
I believe so, yes. That's what I
Okay.
was told.
Okay. And you know, having been around him, that that was for bipolar disorder?
It was to help with, along with the antidepressant.
And when you saw him, this plastic bag, you saw the picture of the plastic bag?
Correct?
One of the things that you mentioned that he had in there was a plastic water bottle.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And you had said that that plastic water bottle was empty, is that right?
correct.
Did you find it odd that he was walking around with an empty plastic water bottle?
Well, when I saw the bag with the empty bottle, I thought it might have been garbage. I asked if he wanted me to throw it out, but he said because he had some clothes and some paperwork from the hospital that he was just gonna hold on to the bag because that was all he had.
And he didn't ask you to throw away the water bottle, did he?
No,
he took that with him when he left you that evening. Is that right?
As far as I know.
Now, you had said that normally you had spent a lot of your time or all of your time together,
Yes.
but that night was going to be different. Is that fair?
Yes.
And you had told him not to go downtown.
Correct.
Okay, why was that?
Because of all the unrest the days prior.
And you were concerned that he was going to go down there?
No, I was concerned that because the entire city was up in flames that something would happen to him anywhere. But specifically, it seemed like it was downtown. So because he was coming from Milwaukee and didn't know all that information about Kenosha, I just wanted to make sure he knew.
Did you feel the need to go with him when he left?
No.
And did he tell you where he was going?
No, he didn't.
Did he, to your knowledge, did he have anywhere else to stay?
No, he did not.
So it was either with you or no other designated kind of place to go.
Correct.
And my last question, from where you were staying, how far is it to 59th and Sheridan?
I would guess an hour walk back, because it's about an hour from the transit to the hotel, so it'd probably be about an hour back to this area.
So if we walk, let's say we walk 4 miles an hour, I don't know that, but so it would be maybe 3, 4, 5 miles, somewhere in there?
I don't know.
Okay, good enough. Ma'am, I don't have any other questions for you. Thank you for your time.
Any question?
Yes, please. Ms. Swart, did the hospital he was at today consult with you on medications he was going to receive?
Yes.
And why? So was this a new mixture of medications that he was
No.
on?
No. This was his regular medication that he had gone off of and had been back on for the last week or so, last week, 10 days before his death.
And he had been on that with his other medications altogether for a while?
Yeah, for the whole time I was with him, a year, yeah.
Nothing further.
I have no follow-up questions.
You may step down, ma'am. State? Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Could you please pull that microphone really close in front of you and speak as loudly and clearly into it as possible? Could you state your name and spell your name for the record, please?
Sahil Kendry, Sahil, last name Khindri.
How are you currently employed?
I have my own dealership in Milwaukee,
What is that dealership called?
Car Planet,
Where is that located?
4020 North Green Bay Avenue.
Back in August of 2020, were you operating that car dealership in Milwaukee?
Yes.
Are you familiar with a series of car dealerships here in Kenosha by the name of Car Source?
Yes, sir.
How are you acquainted with those businesses?
Actually, I worked here up until 2015, and after that, I moved to Milwaukee.
When you say you worked here
Mhm.
up until 2015, where is here?
Kenosha.
Okay, at Car Source?
Yes.
After 2015, did you work at Car Source?
No.
Did you have any ownership interest in the company?
No.
Was there a time in which you were down here at one of the car sources around the night of August 25th, 2020?
Is that Monday?
That's Tuesday night.
Tuesday? I was actually here. We got a call on the first night of riots. We got a call from police department. It's actually my dad's dealership, so I was here actually before that too.
What is your father's name?
Anil Kendry,
How do you spell that?
Anil, last name, same last name, sorry.
What is his relationship to the Car Source dealership?
He's the owner.
You said that we got a call. Who is the we?
Police department called because my brother's phone was off, and I guess people, like around 4 o'clock, he put it on silent mode at nighttime, and then police department called around 6:30 to notify that riots happened or stuff like that.
Who did the police call at that time?
I do not remember. One of us.
Okay. When you say one of us, it's you
Either
and
my
who else?
dad, either me, myself, or my brother. I think more like my brother.
What is your brother's name?
Anmol Kendry.
And do you know what Anmil, can you spell that for us, please?
Anmol.
What is Anmil's relationship to Car Source?
He's basically an inventory manager. For example, cars come from the auction, give it to mechanics, repairs, and then once they are detailed, put it on the lot. That's it.
Back in August of 2020, was your brother Anmil the head of the inventory for Car Source?
Yes.
You said there was a phone call around 6:30 p.m. Do you remember which night that was?
6:30 a.m. on Monday morning. Monday morning, yes.
Okay, I misunderstood. What, if anything, did you personally do after that with regard to the issue of the phone call? Did you come down here?
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you normally live?
We were on KR, like
That's-
20 minutes away.
Okay. And when you say we were on KR, do you mean just
We live in the same house.
you, your brother, and your dad?
Yes.
Okay. So did the three of you come down at that point?
Actually, 4 of us, my mom too.
Okay. Did you all come down at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, sorry.
And what did you observe about the Car Source properties at that time?
A lot of cars were burned. The building, a lot of glass was broken. So, and then the police had a caution tape around it.
I've got a map up on the wall behind you there. There is a, next to the, in front of you, that bottle of hand sanitizer, there's
Oh.
a device laying next to it that's a pointer. Yes, right there. It's a laser pointer. And would you please, using that map, point out the location that you've just described as having burnt out cars and police tape around it?
We're on 5821, at least can somebody?
Sorry, what was that?
The address? 5821.
So this is a map of the area of Kenosha along Sheridan Road?
Right on the top, right there.
Okay. And you're pointing to the car source location, which is on the northeast corner of the intersection of 59th Street and Sheridan Road. Is that fair to say?
Yes, right there.
Okay. In addition to that location, there are two other car source locations close by on Sheridan Road. Is that right?
No, there's 63rd Street as a second car source.
Okay. There's also a location kitty corner from the one you just mentioned. Are you aware of that one?
You mean car doctor?
Okay, that's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
yeah, that's a repair center, yes.
Okay. So if you could point out the one we were just talking about that you mentioned earlier. Okay. And then kitty corner across the street from that to the southwest corner, we have it labeled as car source, but do you see what I'm talking about?
Oh, right here.
Yes.
Yes.
What is that location?
Car doctor.
What is that?
It's our repair center that's owned by my mom.
Okay. When you were originally describing a location that had burnt out cars, that was the first one?
Yes.
Okay. You said you came down there at that point?
Yes.
This time in the morning? Which morning was it that you came down? Do you recall which day it was?
Monday morning.
Monday morning? So this was after Sunday night into Monday morning?
Yes.
What, if anything, did you do after that?
Cried.
Okay. What was the condition of the location that you've now described as car doctor?
Mm-hmm.
What was the condition of that location?
That was fine.
Did you see any damage to any property at that location?
No.
These locations that you've talked about, the car source at 59th and at 63rd, and then the car doctor, at that time in August of 2020, did you work for any of them?
No.
Do you go by the name Sam?
Sal.
Sal?
Yes.
Okay. Did there come a time on that Monday or maybe the following day in which you spoke to anyone, and I'm asking you personally, spoke to anyone about protecting those properties?
No.
There's an individual in the court who's been identified as Kyle-Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
Do you see him here in court today?
Yes.
Have you ever personally spoken to that person?
No.
Have you ever personally texted or called or spoken
No.
on the phone with that person?
No.
Okay. At any point during that Monday or Tuesday process, did you ever speak with anyone about protecting any of those locations?
No.
Okay.
I actually don't even work there.
Okay. All right.
So,
I have no further questions.
So, Mr. Kendry, how close in age are you and your brother?
2 years apart.
Okay, and you go by Sal, does he
Yes.
go by Sam?
Yes.
Okay. So,
I don't know if this one's on. I have no idea.
I think, can you just turn around for a second and look at that picture?
Yes.
Okay. Is that you?
Yes.
That is you?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was Sam, but it's you.
Yeah, that's
Um,
me.
And can you tell me where that picture is taken?
63rd Street.
63rd?
63rd Street,
In
yes.
Sheridan?
Yes.
Okay. That was taken on the night of the 25th, is that right?
Tuesday evening.
Now, you were asked, I think Mr. Binger asked you if you can identify the person sitting at the table with the blue tie on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had said that you've never seen him before?
Now I know his name,
Okay.
but I didn't know him before that.
Okay. If I told you that he was this guy right here, do you know that?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Binger asked you, if I have it right, if you had asked anyone to protect the property that night, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you had said
No.
to that? So these men are on your property, right?
It's my dad's, yes.
They're on your family's
Yes.
property.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ask them to leave, correct?
Especially when they have guns and they dress up right in front of me. I was actually behind that silver Mercedes. There was a Hummer parked, which is our personal car. It had a brake line issue, and we parked that car inside, me and my mechanic. And there were a bunch of cars came in around 7-ish, and then the person that's right next to me dressed up right in front of me, like putting the fancy shoes on or something like that. And then he put some other, and then I was over there, and I observed that they did that.
Well, tell me if this is right. You didn't think they were there to harm you, did you?
No,
Okay. And do you know anybody else in that picture?
no.
Do you know a gentleman by the name of Nick Smith?
Later I learned he was actually worked for my brother about for a week or two, I don't recall, because I live in, I manage Milwaukee store. So I really don't even know his staff until when I come there because I'm there all day.
Okay, so people in that photograph
Mhm.
have worked for members of your family in the past. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. And only if you know. Do you know if those people in that picture were going into the Car Source physical building?
Okay, the person with the white hat with the cross, later I find out that he was he used to work for my brother as an ex-detailer, and he worked for a short amount of time.
So my question to you is, do you know if people in that photograph were physically inside that building?
No.
That evening?
No.
You don't know that, or they weren't?
In this building?
Yes.
No.
Were they in any other of the Car Source buildings that your family owns?
Just the 5821 and the car doctor, which is a service center.
So they were physically present inside 2 of the 3 buildings, right?
I don't understand your question.
Well, you said you have 3 buildings on Sheridan Road.
Yes.
You said they were not physically present inside that building, right?
Correct.
But they were physically present in the 59th?
Who present?
Any of these people?
No, no. Only person which I can't imagine because the Nick, he probably inside because he worked as a cleaning cars. That's what he used to do.
Okay, did he work there at the time, on August 25th?
No,
Do you know how he got in the building?
I do not know.
To get in the building, he would need a key, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Do you know, only if you know, does your family's business give keys to people who no longer work there?
they don't.
So to physically get into the building, would somebody in your family have to open the building?
Correct.
Okay. And do you remember what time you took that picture with those people on the screen?
Right before the curfew, I can't recall, 7:30ish.
And then did you leave?
Yes.
Okay. And are you telling the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, there was no conversation between you and any of those people about staying to protect the business?
No.
Nothing.
No.
No, there was not, or no, there?
No, there wasn't.
No conversation?
No.
at
I
all?
think, I personally believe, I think the questions more you have is for my brother.
For Sam?
Yes, he goes by Sam.
Okay.
Because I don't even work there.
Sal, do you have a BMW?
Yes.
Do you remember giving Mr. Rittenhouse a ride from Car Source, what we call Car Source 2, which I think is the car doctor, to Car Source on 63rd? Do you remember doing that?
No.
You don't remember doing
No.
that day?
No.
But you do have a BMW?
Yeah. I have 10 more cars.
Okay. All right.
10 more cars.
Sir, thank you for your time.
Yep.
I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Kindry, there's going to be something up on the screen in just a second I'd like you to take a look at. It's, is there a way to zoom in on the text? Mr. Kindry, there's a message on the screen. It's a text message. I'd like you to read it to yourself, if you would.
Hi, Sam.
No,
It's-
to yourself.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Have you ever seen that message before?
Yes.
When did you see it? The first time?
I think Thursday or Friday, my brother showed it to me.
Thursday or Friday of what week?
The same week.
Of the week of August 25th, 2020, when
Yes.
all this was happening?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, sorry.
Is it fair to say then that this was a message that was sent or received by your brother, not by you?
Correct.
Okay, that's all I have about that. Put up the photo again, please. Mr. Kindry, there's the photo that was just shown to you of you at the that is the 63rd Street Car Source, correct?
Mhm. Yes.
And there's a group of people there. It's kind of hard. I'm going to ask you to try and go back in time to that moment. There may be some things you've learned since then. I'm interested in, at that very moment, as you're standing there with that group of people, did you know any of them?
No.
I got to ask, why are you in the picture?
I saw the guy right to the right of me dressing up, and I was so impressed. And he mentioned he's from ex-army, and I was like, I never seen that, and I normally saw these things on TV. So I am the one who requested, can I take a picture? And I think somebody did. I can't recall who did it. And then I gave my phone number to Nick to send it to me, and then that's it.
Did he ever do that?
Yeah, he did.
Can you tell us which one is Nick?
The guy with the white hat.
Okay, that's the
With
white hat with the
X's.
Red Cross?
Yes.
And I assume before this night you knew who he was?
No, because I always work in Milwaukee, and my brother runs the Kenosha stores.
Okay. Let's put aside Nick for a second. Did you know anyone else in that picture?
No, sir.
What was your understanding at that moment in time what those people were doing there? Did you have an understanding?
A lot of cars came, I think 3 or 4, I can't recall which ones, and me and my technician parking our Hummer inside the shop because the brake lines were leaked, and I saw these people were dressing up and this, and I went over there and I observed that they're dressing up. For me, that was really impressive.
But again, my question is, what was your understanding of why they were there? Did you have an understanding of why they were at your place?
They were saying that they were here to protect Kenosha because and community service, and I was like, okay.
Did you hear any of them say they were specifically there for car source?
No.
You mentioned that there was a Hummer that you parked inside a shop. Was it this building shown in the picture?
Yes.
Okay.
All the way to the end.
Okay. We know this is the 63rd Street car source.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to take a look at the people in that photograph there. Obviously, you're next to them at 63rd Street. My question is, were you with any of those people anywhere else that night?
No.
Were you with any of those people at the Car Doctor location on the southwest corner of 59th and Sheridan at any point that night?
I recalled there were a lot of, right across the street from a car doctor, a lot of people were walking by. I observed some people over there, yes.
Which of those people in the photograph did you observe by the car doctor? The one I'm going to use, you're calling it the car doctor. We actually haven't heard that up until today, but either way, it's that car source location on the southwest corner or the car doctor location on the southwest corner of 59th and Sheridan. You
Yes.
know which location I'm talking about?
Right across the street from the main lot, right? Yes.
Which of the people in that photograph did you see or were you with at that car doctor location?
No one.
No one in that photograph?
No. I saw a lot of people, like from a car doctor, if I'm standing over there, across the street, they were passing. And then, yeah, I saw that.
But that wasn't anybody in this photograph.
Not that I recall.
Okay, thank you.
Cross-examination? Recross?
Mr. Kindry, I have one question. Are you aware that the people in that picture were at all three of your family businesses that evening?
No.
You were unaware of that?
No.
Okay. And,
No, I was not aware of it, or?
Yeah, no, I'm not aware of it.
and you, at a little before curfew, you had left for the night, and that was your involvement on the 24th, correct?
Is it Tuesday?
I'm sorry, 25th.
Was it Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah, that day, that's the last thing I did was took the picture, and then my brother came in with our mechanic because we heard people chanting over by the courthouse, and then my brother came with the mechanic. He dropped him off, and we're like, okay, let's go. We just left.
I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Any redirect, you may step down, sir. What time, let's see, we started at 12:30. Or we didn't start till 1 o'clock, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we were haggling. solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please be seated.
Good afternoon, sir.
Could you please bring that microphone as close as you can and speak as loud as possible into it? It's sometimes hard to hear in here.
Sure.
Could you state your name for the record and spell it, please?
Anmol Kendry. It's ANMOL. Last name KHINDRI.
How are you currently employed?
I work for Car Source.
What is Car Source?
It's a dealership owned by my dad,
What is your father's name?
Anil Kendry.
How long have you worked for your father's business?
Ever since we started,
When was that?
back in 2013,
Where is Car Source located?
we have 2 locations. The main location is 5821 Sheridan Road, Kenosha, Wisconsin, and the second one is on 6226 Sheridan Road, Kenosha.
Are there any other locations that are named Car Source?
No, sir.
Do you have your own business as well?
I just started a month ago.
Is that in any way related to Car Source?
No.
Are you familiar with a location called Car Doctor?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what you know about that?
That's actually our inspection center because we have a lot of regulations that we have to follow for DOT. So every car that comes in has to be inspected, certified by mechanics. Doesn't matter if they're certified, but yeah, we just use it as well as we have a body shop and a detailing center there.
All of that occurs at Car Doctor?
Yes, sir.
Where is Car Doctor?
It's right across the street from 5821.
Sir, there's a map on the wall behind you there, and that is showing the area of Sheridan Road. On the north, at the top of the map, is 58th Street, and at the bottom of the map, on the south end, is 63rd Street. Right in front of you, by the microphone, is a little laser pointer. Would you mind using that laser pointer and pointing out on this map where those 2 Car Source locations are that you described?
I can't see that far.
If you need to get up and walk over there,
Can I?
feel free.
Please, thank you. Yes, sorry. Yes, I do see it now. Yes.
Could you please point them out for us?
This is our first location?
And I think you said first location?
Yes.
Okay, and where's the other one?
The other one is 63rd and Sheridan.
And then could you please point out the location that you have identified as Car Doctor?
Yes. It is right here.
And for the record, that is labeled on the map Car Source. It is located at the southwest corner of 59th Street and Sheridan Road. Is that accurate?
5912 Sheridan. Yeah, that is correct.
At any point around August of 2020,
Mm-hmm.
were you employed by or an owner of any of those locations?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
Yeah. We're going to be talking about the night of August 25th, 2020.
Sure.
That was a Tuesday night, 2 days after Jacob Blake was shot.
Okay.
Do you remember that time period?
Yes.
You've identified the 2 Car Source locations.
Yes.
On August 25th, 2020, did you work for those locations?
Yes.
What was your job there?
Move inventory.
What does that mean exactly? You just say move?
Move. Yes. We moved all our inventory to our storage units.
Where, you don't need to give me an address, but where were your storage?
Illinois.
Illinois?
Illinois. Yes.
Let me back up a second just so I
Sure.
can make sure we're on the same page here. We've heard a lot of testimony and we've seen videos of I think think you called the first location
Yes.
at, in the 5800 block of Sheridan Road.
Sure.
The cars were damaged. There was fire that burned almost all of them up,
Yes.
correct?
That's correct.
Do you remember what night that happened?
That happened. They say it's Sunday night, but it was very early Monday morning.
You just described moving your inventory to a storage location. Why
Yes.
did you do that?
Because my dad asked me to, and we did have quite a few inventory. The main lot that got burned down, the 63rd location, was as well as jam-packed with full of cars.
Is it fair to say, sir, that after you had a large number of your cars destroyed at the first location, you decided to make sure that you got all of the other cars off the other location?
That is correct.
And that's why you were moving them?
Yes.
By the way, do you go by the name Sam?
Yes, I do.
Now, I just asked you what your job was at
Mhm.
those two car sources, and I
Mhm.
think you told me it was to move inventory.
Inventory management, in terms of buying vehicles from the auctions, getting them ready, get them transported, all that, yes.
Were you employed by that other location that you call Car Doctor also?
I am not employed by a car doctor, but I manage. Basically, we get our inventory ready via car doctor.
Why is that location owned and named something different than Car Source?
Because we don't sell cars here.
Okay.
Neither we have license to sell cars here.
When you say you managed the Car Doctor location,
Mhm.
you seem to suggest that that didn't mean you were employed there.
No, I'm not employed. Basically, like I said, I manage inventory for Car Source.
Who, back on August 25th, 2020, who owned Car Doctor?
My mom.
And even though you weren't an employee of that location, you managed it?
Well, a lot of the inventory sitting there is from Car Source.
Okay. On the day of August 25th, 2020, which was a Tuesday, were you there at either one of the Car Source locations or at Car Doctor at any point?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I am going to focus in on Tuesday, August 25th,
Okay.
2020. That was the night that Kyle-Rittenhouse shot and killed two people.
Yes.
It is 2 days after Jacob Blake was shot, and I'm asking you on that particular day
Mhm.
if you were at either of the Car Source locations or Car Doctor.
I was at the Car Doctor location.
What were you doing there?
We had few customers' cars that came back for service. We had two major vehicles two vehicles that needed major repairs. So we were pushing those cars inside the building
Why were you doing that?
to save them from destruction.
Up until that point, had any of the property at the Car Doctor location been damaged?
No, sir. Sorry, could you repeat that question again?
Absolutely. I think you're describing that on Tuesday, August 25th, you and someone else were pushing some cars inside the building.
Yes.
What I'm wondering is, before that, had any of that property at that location, the building or the cars or anything else, been damaged?
On Tuesday or before Tuesday?
Before Tuesday.
Before Tuesday. Sorry, I have to think about it. It's about a
That's
year
fine.
back. So you were asking Monday.
Well, I think you've testified that Car Source 1, the first
Yes.
location,
Mhm.
had been destroyed by fire.
Right.
What I'm wondering is, were any of the other locations, the Car Doctor or the other Car Source, burned or damaged in any way?
I'm sorry, I cannot remember. I don't believe so.
Other than pushing some of the customers' cars inside the building at Car Doctor, what else did you do at those locations on Tuesday?
We basically removed our mechanic tools because we didn't know what was going to happen, and cleaned up because there was from Monday evening, Monday night, you can say. Some cars did get damaged, a lot of glass everywhere, and our mechanics and detailers were basically clearing up the lot. Just clean up, basically, pretty much.
Other than what you've just described,
Mhm.
did you do anything else at either of the Car Source locations or at Car Doctor on that Tuesday?
On Tuesday, no sir. I was majority of the time I spent was on at Car Doctor.
Did you ever have any discussions that day with anyone about protecting or guarding either of the Car Source locations or Car Doctor?
No sir.
Do you know or have you ever heard of a person by the name of Kyle-Rittenhouse?
Now I have.
On that day, did you have any contact of any kind? Phone call, a face-to-face discussion, an email, a text message, anything like that with the person that you now know is Kyle Rittenhouse?
No sir.
Sir, I have a message that is up on the TV screen there. I would like you to please read it to yourself. Have you had a chance to read that message?
Yes sir.
Before today, had you ever seen that message before?
Before today? Yes sir.
When was the first time that you saw that message?
I cannot tell you exact time, but it was the day after the shooting.
The shooting occurred on a Tuesday,
Yes.
August 25th.
Yes.
Are you saying that you saw this message on Wednesday?
I am not sure. I cannot remember which day it was, but it was pretty close.
Where did you first see this message? In other words, did you see it on a device that you possess, or was it something on the internet, or
My
what?
cell phone.
Was this,
Sorry.
I didn't hear your answer.
Sorry, what was the question again?
I think you said my cell phone?
This message, yes, on my cell phone. Sorry.
Mr. Kindry, the message that's up on that screen, was that a message that you personally received on your cell phone at some point?
Yes, sir.
And I believe you're not sure exactly when it was that you first saw it. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
There is a timestamp on this message, and it says yesterday, 3:02 p.m. Do you have any idea? Does that help you at all to figure out when this was?
The day after, I'm assuming.
Well, I get that, but I'm wondering if that helps you to understand which day of the week it was.
Wednesday?
Which would mean that this message came in on Tuesday.
Yes.
The message appears to be from someone who identifies themselves as Kyle. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
Someone sent this to your personal cell phone, fair?
Yes.
Do you have any idea how that person got your cell phone number?
Well, ever since Monday morning and Tuesday, I've given out my cell phone number, maybe hundreds of thousands of people, media, general public, my customers. They actually came by for condolences and stuff.
Do you remember giving your personal cell phone out? And I'll just point out, the defendant, Kyle Rittenhouse, is here in court. Put up the photo, please. There is going to be a photograph that I'm going to show you on the screen. Let me just ask first, Mr. Kindry, have you ever seen that photo before?
Yes, I have.
Were you there at the time that that photo was taken?
I was not.
Do you recognize anyone in that photograph?
My brother?
Other than your brother, do you recognize anyone else?
My ex-detailer?
What is that person's name?
Nick?
Can you identify him in that photo?
He's wearing a hat with a cross?
He is the gentleman with the white hat with the red cross on it.
Yes, sir.
Other than your brother and the detailer, Nick, do you know or recognize anyone else in that photograph?
No, sir.
The individual who is the second from the right, he is a male with a green shirt, a black long gun, and wearing a backwards baseball cap. There is an orange device or some sort of case right in front of him on the ground. Do you understand who I'm referring to?
Yes.
That is the defendant, Kyle Rittenhouse, as he looked on the night of Tuesday, August 25th. On that night, or at any point on that day, Tuesday, August 25th, do you remember having any contact with that person?
Sorry, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
While he's armed?
No. I'm asking if you remember at any point on that Tuesday having any contact with that person, either in face-to-face, over the phone, a text message, an email, any contact of any kind.
I do remember he came to me at Car Source at the first location.
When you say the first location, is that the one in the 5800 block that had been
Yes, sir.
damaged by the
Yes, sir.
fires? Tell us what you remember about him coming to you at that location.
It was pretty normal. Just like everybody else, they were talking to us and that you're gonna be fine and this and that. You will come back from this. His response was the same, like the way he said it. He talked about how he can help us with fundraising the business, and I'm sure he asked for my phone number, which I gave it to him, just like I gave it to the media or any other individual who was nice and polite. And I don't remember him giving me his phone number, neither I asked for it.
Did you talk to him about protecting or guarding either one of the Car Source's locations or Car Doctor?
I did not.
On Tuesday, August 25th, did you talk to anyone about guarding or protecting either of the car source locations or the car doctor?
I did not.
You've identified your person that used to work as a detailer, Nick, in that white hat with the red cross.
Yes.
So this is August 25th, 2020. Was he still working with your family companies in
Not
any
at
way?
all, sir.
But he had done so in the past?
That was quite far back.
On that day, August 25th, that Tuesday, did you talk to Nick Smith, that individual?
I did not.
Did you provide keys to anyone on Tuesday, August 25th, so they could get in or out of any of the car source locations or car doctor?
I did not.
Did you offer money to anyone?
I did not.
Please let me finish.
Sure.
Did you offer money to anyone in exchange for them guarding or protecting either of the car source locations or car doctor?
I did not.
Did you give anyone permission to be inside any of the buildings on either car source location or the car doctor location on Tuesday, August 25th?
I did not.
Did you give anyone permission to guard or protect any of those three properties?
I did not.
On that particular evening, did you know that there were people there with guns who had taken upon themselves to guard any of those car source locations or car doctor? Did you know that night that any of that was going on?
I did not.
I assume there came a time after that where you learned about that. Is that fair to say?
The next day, yes.
How did you learn about that?
News channel?
Was that the first time that you knew about any of that stuff?
Videos? Yeah.
I want to go back for a second to that text message that we showed on the screen earlier. Did you ever respond to this text message at any time?
I did not. I didn't know who it was.
One second, please, sir.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Let's take a break, folks. Please don't talk about the case. Read, watch, or listen when you encounter the trial. We'll see you in about 15 minutes.
Hello?
Oh, sorry. I was calling the jury.
Okay, goodbye.
Hello?
Would you come down, please?
Yes.
You may be seated. Everybody's here, I think. Mr. Sharofsky.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kendrick.
No, sir.
Do you have a concern that if you allowed or gave permission to those armed men in that picture to be on your property with your permission, that you could be sued for that based on what happened?
I did not allow anybody, neither I gave anybody
It's
permission.
not my question, sir.
Okay, sorry.
My question is this: do you have concern that if you allowed armed men to protect your property and someone was shot at your property, that you and your family could face a lawsuit for that?
Could you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Thank you.
Do you have concern? Well, I'll start with this. You, after watching the videos, you understand that Mr. Rosenbaum was shot on your property, correct?
Yes.
My question to you is this: do you have concern that if you allowed armed men to protect your property, and one of those armed men then ended up shooting someone, that you and your family could be sued for that?
No, sir.
You don't have any concern about that?
No, sir.
How much inventory from the 24th, the 23rd and the 24th, in terms of loss of money, how much money did your businesses lose in terms of damage to property?
I cannot give you an exact number at this moment.
Can you give me a ballpark?
Sorry, I cannot remember at this moment.
More than 100,000?
Yes,
More than 250,000?
I do not know, sir.
So is this like your family, is this the business that feeds your family?
I work for my dad.
Okay.
Yes.
And you don't have, and you're the inventory manager?
Yes.
And you don't know what your loss was from those fires?
I personally never calculated it. My dad does the money part.
Did did Car Source and Car Doctor, did they have insurance for those vehicles that were burned?
Yes,
Okay. Now, on the 20, do you know Dominic Black by chance?
I do not.
You know Nick Smith?
Yes,
Do you know a man by the name of Justin Hamilton?
ex-mechanic, yes.
Okay, and Mr. Smith and Mr. Hamilton both worked for you, is that right?
In the past, yes.
And just letting you know, Mr. Black, Dominic Black, has testified in this case already. Okay? If Dominic Black said that you gave him permission along with the other people to be those armed men to be present on your property on the evening of the 25th, would that be not true?
I did not give anybody permission.
So Mr. Black would be lying about that.
Objection. Typically, the witnesses are not permitted to testify as to the truthfulness of statements made by others. However, the witnesses, you can rephrase it in such a way that the witness can be made aware of the testimony of the other witness and then asked for the truth of it. But not the truth of the other person's testimony, the truth of the matter.
That was already done.
Well, it was, but I'm going to let him.
Okay, Judge, fair enough. On the morning of the 25th, oh, strike that. On the 24th, do you know, did Nick Smith and Justin Hamilton come to your properties and help try to put out those fires?
Which day was that?
The 24th.
Which day of the week?
Monday? Monday. Monday the 24th.
Now, could you repeat that question, please?
On Monday the 24th, did Nick Smith and Justin Hamilton come to your properties, the Car Source properties, to help put out those fires?
On which property?
Any of the properties.
Do you know the time? Like, sorry, I can't understand that question.
You don't, I just want to make sure, you don't understand the question of whether or not somebody came to help put out fires at your property?
On Monday, you said?
Yes.
You said, what was the name of the people?
Nick Smith, he worked for you at one point, yes?
Years back, yes.
Justin Hamilton, he worked for you at one point, yes?
Years back, yes.
Did they come to your properties or property and help fight or put out the fires from the 24th?
At the location of Car Doctor.
So, yes, they did.
Yes. I will have to look at the video or photograph. I cannot remember that far back. I'm sorry.
Were you there attempting to put out any of the fires on your property?
No, sir.
Did you call anyone to assist, to try to help, or did you just let the property burn?
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry.
Did you do anything? Did you call anyone? Did you ask for help? Did you physically do anything to try to stop
I
those fires?
called 911 several times, yes.
Did anybody show up?
I do not know.
Okay. Nick Smith and Justin Hamilton, if you know, they showed up at least one of your properties to help put out the fires, correct?
I will have to look at the photo or a video.
Okay.
Sure.
Do you recall asking them to help put out the fires at your property?
I did not ask anybody.
No?
I did not ask.
And on the 25th, did you, the morning of the 25th, did you call Nick Smith again and ask him for help that day?
I did
Which would
not.
be Tuesday?
I did not.
Okay. So, if I could just have you turn around. So this is, we have referred to this as car source number 1. If you know this, this is what I refer to as Ruther High School. That's a school right there, right? I'm sorry, you have to talk in the microphone.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And on the morning of the 25th, this building right here, this school, had suffered graffiti damage. Do you know that?
I do not.
You weren't at the property across the street from it earlier that morning?
I did not stay there.
I didn't ask you that. I asked, were you there and did you see graffiti on the school?
I saw graffiti on the roadblocks, or I did not see it on the school.
Okay. Did you see that morning Kyle-Rittenhouse cleaning graffiti off of that school?
I did not.
You had a conversation with Kyle-Rittenhouse that morning of the 25th, correct?
I remember that I had basically when I got there with my parents, people reach out to us, pretty much.
And when you say we got there, you're talking about
At Car Source.
the 5912?
Yes, 5821.
Sorry, 5821. And you had a conversation, according to your statement, with Kyle Rittenhouse.
Which, yes,
Okay, you gave a written statement on September 11th to a Detective Cypress.
yes,
Remember that?
I do remember that.
Okay. And you had a conversation with Kyle Rittenhouse, correct?
Mhm. Yes,
And Kyle Rittenhouse, he had offered to help, according to your statement, and fundraise for your business. Is that right?
he wanted to help with fundraising the business.
Right. You told that to Detective Cypress.
Yes,
And you gave him your phone number because he asked for it. Is that right?
yes, sir.
Okay. Now, was there any damage to the car doctor or to Car Source on 63rd? Was there damage to those properties on the 24th?
Which was Monday?
Yes.
I'm sorry, it's just over a year. Monday. Okay, Monday. Okay, please go on with the question. So could you repeat that?
Was there any property damage to the car doctor or the Car Source, what we call Car Source 3, on the 24th?
On the Car Source on 63rd, no damage.
Car doctor.
No damage.
So, all right, so 2 of the 3 properties at that point had not suffered any damage from the riots.
There were a few windshields crack on the inventory itself at Car Doctor.
The buildings were okay?
Yes,
Okay. How about on the, did you go down and check your property on the 26th, which would have been the morning after the shootings?
morning after. Which location?
Both of the properties that had not been previously damaged.
Yes,
Was there any damage to either one of those properties on the 26th?
at Car Doctor.
And what was that damage?
Towards the back. where the body shop is.
What kind of damage?
So when we arrived on a car doctor, went inside, our mechanics were there. He actually pointed out, hey, you want to come see this?
Now, when you say he, we're talking about your mechanic.
Our mechanic.
You
on
don't
my,
have to tell me what he said. Can you just tell me what he showed you?
yes, that's what I'm about to do. So he took us towards the back, towards the building where there's a body shop. So it's a 4-car garage, and what we observed was there's the body cars, a lot of bumpers, a lot of taillights, headlights. All those cars in the back are for body repair. So there is pickup trucks, they're usually rust out, and there are a few of them, but there was one by the garage.
So the damage was to the, if I have you, I have what you're saying right, to the inventory.
Well, no, I didn't finish it. So basically, there was a lot of glass on the back door. Yeah, I can't. And the garage doors, the rectangular tiles that are see-through, they were stretched. They were fallen inside the shop. So it seemed like it was a break-in.
Okay. Do you have, I'll ask it to you this way. On the morning of the 25th, you went to the properties to make sure that they were okay from the night before, the 24th, right? I'm talking about Car Doctor and Car Source 3. You checked the properties, make sure they were okay?
Monday or Tuesday?
Monday night into, Monday, I take that back. Tuesday morning, you checked the properties and they were okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, at Car Doctor, you have a ladder, is that right?
Not that I can recall.
Do you have a ladder at any of your properties?
No, I don't think so. I don't believe so.
Have you seen videos of, on the night of the 25th, of people at your property?
I have.
Okay. They're on the roof, right? Yes?
Yes.
Do you have a way to get to the roof?
They made a way.
Oh, were you there?
No.
So I want you to tell me what you know, not what you're guessing.
Yes, that's
Okay.
what I was about to, when I brought up the pickup truck. On top of the pickup truck has a cab. Okay, we had about over, you can say, at that time, probably 250, 280, less than 300 tires in the back shed. And we keep them in the shop or whatever. So they are stacked on top of the pickup truck, on the cab, towards the roof.
So it is your belief that these men climbed up on the tires and then climbed up on the roof? That's your belief?
I just told you what I saw the next day, on Wednesday morning.
And you never provided, is it your testimony today, you never provided a ladder to anybody to get on the roof of Car Source?
I did not.
Do you know if your brother was there that night prior to curfew, right? On the 25th?
25th.
If this helps, I can tell you there's a picture of him with these
Yeah.
men.
It's better with the days, Monday and Tuesday. Sorry, I just have a hard time with the dates.
Do you know if your brother gave them a ladder?
No,
You don't know?
No, you don't.
he did not.
Were you there?
At Car Doctor?
At Car Source at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night on Tuesday.
On the 63rd Street?
Yeah, I'll ask you this, when did you leave the properties for good?
Uh,
On the 25th?
Before
on
curfew.
Tuesday. Okay, when?
It was in between 7:30, 7:45.
Did you see those people that were armed at any one of those properties on the 25th?
No, sir.
Did you see that, you didn't see them like standing with your brother in that photograph?
I did see that.
So you saw,
Did not. I did or did not?
But in the photograph, I do see people.
so you saw those people on your property on the evening of the 25th, Tuesday,
Yes.
with your brother?
No.
You just saw them there without your brother?
When I got there, I was ready to take off. I had to just lock up the building and heading home before their chaos and all the protest starts.
And those people were at your property?
Those people,
The people with guns, they were at your property, right?
I saw a lot of people on Sheridan Road armed.
I'm asking you specifically if you saw people with guns on your property before you left to go home on Tuesday.
I'm sorry, I cannot remember. I know that I was asking my brother to leave.
So you were down there to pick up your brother, right?
No.
You were down there to...
I got a ride from my mechanic. He dropped me off, and I came in, locked up the store, and we left.
Agree that the next day, meaning the Wednesday, there's no damage to any of the doors on your building in terms of no locks busted, none of that stuff, correct?
On which location?
Any of them?
Car doctor, there is damage.
To the locks?
To the back. To the glass, to the garage doors.
But you don't know who did that.
I do not know.
Okay. And have you watched the video of people, armed men walking in and out of the car source that evening? on
Yes,
the
I have.
25th?
I have.
You've seen that?
Yes.
Okay. Did Nick Smith have a key to your building?
No,
Did you give him a key that night?
I did not.
How about Justin Hamilton? Justin Hamilton.
No, I did not.
No?
No.
But you saw on the video them walking in and out of your store.
I cannot even tell who is who or who these people are.
That wasn't my question. My question was you saw people walking in and out of your
Yes, I did.
store. Did you ever ask Kyle Rittenhouse if he could help protect your business on on Tuesday, the 25th?
I did not.
You never asked, and you never asked Nick Smith, and you never asked Justin Hamilton.
No, I did not.
I'm going to ask it to you this way, and I'm not trying to be offensive the way I say this is. Were you just willing to let your property be damaged on the 25th?
After seeing the destruction, there's nothing I could do.
So you kind of resigned yourself to the fact that whatever was going to happen on that day was going to happen. Is that what you're saying?
I do not know.
Sir, have you provided interviews as it relates to the damage to your property?
I may have.
Okay. I'm looking at one of those interviews right now. And what I want to ask you is if this sounds about right to you. And I'm taking it off of your interview. 137 vehicles were burned on your lots. Does that sound about right?
If that's what it says.
That's not the question.
I do not know the numbers off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I don't have the.
Would you challenge that it was 137, or does that sound about pretty close?
It's close.
$2.5 million in losses. Sound about right?
I don't know. My dad handles the money part of the business.
Your family had to hire a lawyer because your insurance wasn't going to cover those damages.
That is not true.
That's not true? So if you said that you're working with a lawyer to convince your insurance company to cover at least some of the damages, that's not true.
I did not have to hire an attorney.
In this interview, did you tell the writer, our insurance company is finding their way out so they don't have to pay for all this arson? Did you tell him that?
Well, there was no acceptance from the insurance company, so there's.
My question to you was, did you tell this interviewer that our insurance company is finding their way out so they don't have to pay for all this arson? Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I do not remember.
You don't remember saying that?
I do not remember. And to add to that, they also said that I was dead. That was in the media too. So I do not.
Well, I'm
remember.
asking what you said, okay?
I do not remember, sir.
You do not remember having that conversation?
I do not.
You don't dispute the 2.5 million?
I cannot tell you. I don't deal with the numbers. My dad does. I'm an inventory manager, sir.
The only person quoted in this article, your dad's not quoted, it's you. Has your dad given interviews, do you know?
He does not speak much English.
Okay, so the numbers came from somewhere, and your dad doesn't speak English, and your brother doesn't work there, so it's you, right?
But I do not remember that. I'm sorry, it's been over a year.
Okay. So when you testified under oath that you had insurance for all of this, that's not true, right?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
You've already testified under oath that you had insurance for all of this. That's not true, is it?
We do have insurance. My dad does have insurance on all the locations.
But not for those vehicles due to arson, correct?
I'm not understanding the question. I'm so sorry. Could you repeat that for me?
I asked you, one of the first questions I asked
Sure.
was about your loss. You had said you have insurance. My statement to you is you don't have insurance for all the damage done to those vehicles from arson. Isn't that true?
We do have insurance
For arson.
Answer the question which was asked.
for ours. I do not know.
Did you see your brother give 4 men a ride in his BMW from the 59th Street address down to the 6226 address? Did you see him giving?
I did not.
No? I don't have any other questions for you. Thank you, sir.
Redirect? You may step down, sir. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Can you please state your first and last name and spell them for the benefit of the court reporter?
Officer Eric Widener, ERICHWEIDNER,
And Mr. Widener, how are you employed?
as a City of Kenosha police officer.
How long have you been a police officer?
Going on 22 years now.
And what is your current assignment?
Third shift patrol.
And were you working on the evening of August 25th, 2020?
Yes.
What were your general duties that evening?
I was assigned patrol.
So the city of Kenosha was patrolling on that night?
Yes.
And where were you stationed, or what were your activities, let's say at the beginning of your shift that night?
Just normal patrol, taking calls if a call came out for service, staying in the area of the downtown area, uptown area, and just taking normal calls when someone called 911.
What do you mean by staying in the downtown area or uptown area?
In the outskirts of the heavy congested area that was having the unrest.
So that was part of your duties, was to stay around there, but then if another call came in, domestic violence or burglary, you'd go to that call?
Yes.
At any point, were you directed to go to the area of 63rd Street and Sheridan Road?
Yes.
Why were you directed to go there?
I am an evidence technician also, and I was called to go and process a shooting scene.
So what is an evidence technician?
We have special training above and beyond what a normal patrol officer has, and we respond to calls of service for like burglaries, anything that needs fingerprinting, shootings, shots fired, suspicious deaths, stuff like that. Kind of like what everyone knows as a CSI, but we do it kind of as on patrol.
Now, what you said you were there to process the scene, what does that mean?
I was told there was a shooting scene, and they wanted me to process it, photograph it, document it, and collect evidence.
At that point, how many details about the shooting were you given?
None, just that there's a shooting, and a subject was down.
Can I ask you to bring the microphone closer to you?
So I was
Just-
trying to lean forward.
You can move the microphone, actually.
Okay.
That might be easier.
All right. Much better.
So what is the first thing you did when you got to this? The scene is a car source location, is that correct?
Correct. It's a car place at 63rd and Sheridan.
What is the first thing you did when you arrived on this scene?
I spoke to multiple supervisors on the scene, asked them what the circumstances were. The person who was shot was not on scene anymore, so I asked questions about that. And then I was walked towards where they thought the scene was.
And then what is the next thing that happened?
Eventually, I started locating some evidence, and I started photographing the scene.
Where did you first locate evidence?
The first evidence I located was spent shell casings or fired shell casings in the street, about the 900 block of 63rd, which is west of Sheridan Road.
Now, there should be a laser pointer up there. If not, I can give you one. I think there's one in front of you. Could you just indicate on the map where you found those casings that you just referred to? So you're pointing to the 900 block of 63rd Street, sort of towards the end of that block in front of the car source?
Yes.
And what kind,